Hello and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Guillem. You know that I like to have coffee with people that allow me to just have the coffee while they talk, because that is the time where I have to learn. And today we've got somebody who has been first a scout, if you like, by Leverkusen, and then work his way up to be officially technical director of Bayern Munich. And his story we're going to hear in the next few minutes. But first, let me introduce you to him. Marco, what else would you say about yourself and your career?
Oh, you summarized it pretty well. So, I mean, I was a former player only in the third division, and from there, my passion of football was always massive. And I get the chance, how you said, starting as an internship with Bayer Leverkusen, and then luckily, I moved with the former sporting director from Leverkusen to Munich and get the opportunity to learn a lot.
When you started going into that side of the game, was it because you wanted to be part of the game, or because you felt that you actually saw the game well and you thought that these clubs could do with your vision?
To be honest, a longer injury in my career between 23 and 25 started to change my point of view, not only on my own style of playing football, even when I watch the games, the football matches, try to have a closer focus on the players, how they do, what could be the match idea, the match plan of the coach, and how do they act in these spaces they get. So of course a player gets information. It's about the team. Everyone has his own role. And then I started to think, oh, what does it mean for the individual? How can you act in your space? How can you bring your style, your strengths into the team, into the group, and start to think in this off time much deeper about football, about my own game, but also about football in general, and especially about how can you build uh, with different profiles the most successful team.
Once you were in charge of decision making at Bayern Munich, you looked deeply into what it meant to sign a player, the context of it, the importance of the person itself. So you change a little bit the proceedings at Bayern Munich regarding recruitment. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I would agree because the football market the last 10 years changed a lot. So it all became more expensive. The transfer amounts, the salary increased a lot. So you don't have the gap to it's not the gap for mistakes, or not this big gap for some mistakes. So you have to be really careful, and you have to understand the whole complex system, how teams working, how teams working on the best mode. And of course I think this time in Bayern we changed the transfer philosophy to be a bit more risky, try to sign players in an earlier stage, and um, help them to adapt in our group. So it's a bit the mixture. You have to know your own group, what they can give and deliver, and how they could support younger players in these circumstances. So that was always like the imagination. What does it mean if this young player joins this group, and how could they help him to develop his own game to the most successful, or to the best level he can be. So it was always the feeling being really close at the market to identify the right players, and also have a good understanding of your own team.
So that's the theory, and I thought that another way to understand your role, what you did, and how in today's market, complex market, how you have to behave when you are Bayern Munich. I just thought if we could choose four case studies, if you like, four players that tell the whole story of your involvement with Bayern Munich, perhaps it would be a better way for people to understand it. I've chosen four names, but you tell me if you would swap them for another one. Um, Alphonso Davies as the representative of a player that nobody knew, and you maximize the potential greatly. Harry Kane, which is the other extreme, very well known, very expensive. Who else would you add there? Kimmich, perhaps,
Sure.
and Musiala as the young player that you got
Yes.
early. Would those four be a representative of your time at Bayern?
Yes, I think so. So I would join the Gravenberch story as well, because you mentioned four names. They all working well in this in the system of Bayern Munich, but also the signing of Ryan Gravenberch is something like okay. It's also it's an example what is part of the game in doing this recruitment process or being responsible for the recruitment process. Not always, not always. If we speak about the signings, about the potential, the early identifying of talent, means that it will be 100% successful at your club. So Ryan is sadly an example that it didn't work out at Bayern, but at the end, how we could see last season with Liverpool, he's a great player, of course.
I find a good idea actually to start with somebody like Ryan, who is succeeding somewhere else. You'd seen the talent, but as you say, context is absolutely everything. And now we jump to a fascinating one as well, in the case of Alphonso Davies. And um, you may have all the data in the world. You may have the right information. You may have seen hundreds of videos and seen a player live. But sometimes players appear not out of nowhere, but in a different way to get to you. And that's I'm doing a book with Unai Emery and Aston Villa, and the example of that is Morgan Rogers, who Aston Villa has to play Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. They start looking at videos and they say, this guy is good, wasn't even a regular. He wouldn't have been scouted anyway if he hadn't been because they had to meet in the FA Cup, and now he's an international and one of the best young English players around. So is that the story of also Alphonso Davies a little bit? It appear not through the normal channels.
He's coming from a market you're not following week by week. So to be honest, the MLS for a big European top 5 club, it's not the league like the Premier League or Serie A, La Liga. You're following much deeper. But of course, Alfonso was really young. In a young age, he started. He brought the focus on him because he did amazing things. His pace was something he can't hide. So it's phenomenal. It's spectacular how he solved things on the pitch under pressure. So and then we started to dive in deeper and analyzing him on the deepest way we can. So also the character behind, speaking about the human, how is he, how is his mindset, what are the ambitions of him. So we started to start this this scouting process in a deep way, and then of course we came to the signing, and we were convinced that we are the right next chapter for him, and also with the attention that we have to take care that he will need some weeks and months to adapt this level.
In these cases, when it is not a league, as you say, that people wouldn't follow at the level of Bayern Munich, is there a call? Is there an accident? Is there a video? Is there something that is not the usual that gets to you to start a process? What started it?
To be honest, I received an email. Someone sent me an email and said, hey, are you following this guy? He's really young. Of course, beside that, our system made us aware that a really young player is starting. So he gets more and more minutes. This is the system we had, the datas beside that, but also the system. So it's an alert that if young players starting in a lower league, you have to be aware, you have to have a look. And then I received also on the other end an email, hey, are you following him? And we already stepped into the process. So it was three ways we get his attention, and then of course when you follow him week by week by his performance, we came really close and really fast to the conclusion. Let's go for him.
So would you say that whatever happened, it was a win-win situation for both the player and both clubs. There was a transfer fee. There was the possibility of a player growing in another continent, even. But if it didn't work out, it wasn't an expensive mistake, if you like, and for him, it would be an experience, a life experience, really. So, do you think you consider all those things?
Yeah, sure. So for us, that time was like a role model signing. So we signed someone from a lower league, from a not that big league, in a young age. Of course, if for us, for the club, for the philosophy of signing is something completely different what we did before. So it's really important that these things going well and being successful. So for the next time when we sit with a young player like Jamal, of course we had the chance to explain him, look, he went this journey with us, so he's right now on this level. Let's do the same with you. Come on, join us and try to make the same pathway like he's doing. Of course, and I think it's completely understandable for people, for parents, for agents, that you show them the way and show how you work with these kind of talents, and that they have the chance. Also, if we are speaking about one of the biggest clubs in the world, you have to show them the project and the pathway that they will make it.
Perfect cue to talk about Jamal Musiala. So you actually decided, like you, many other teams, that he was a very talented youngster with a lot of progression in his hands. Do you get Alphonso ringing him, or do you just explain what you've done with Davies and hope that it will be enough?
It's a good question. I'm not 100% sure if he was in touch with Jamal, but I know for sure that of course we used the guys. Oh, we used it's the wrong words, but because it's really the wrong words. The best player wants to play with the best players. So it's magnetic. They are also asking me in the dressing room, hey, who's the next? Can we sign this one? This is a great one. I'm always, when I'm walking through the dressing room, the players are speaking with me about football, about players, about how do you think about this guy? He's playing there. So this is completely, for me, it's normal. And I like it. To be honest, I get a feeling how they feel football, what does in their mind is a missing piece in our group. So it's not that bad that we are speaking about these things. So it was always fine. Of course, if you know, they are friends, he is trying to push me and say, hey, watch him, he's a good guy. So it's not about that. We have to speak about professionals. But of course, if you try to sign in this recruitment process, and believe me, the last years, it became more and more competitive, because everyone is trying to sign them on the early stage, and clubs are fighting with each other to convince them that this club or our club is the best club for this young talent or for these players. Though in this recruitment process, sometimes it's not that bad if the players get in touch or knowing each other, met them in holidays and say, hey, the club is top, you will be here really fine, we are a good group, you can develop with us. So it's not, honestly, it's not unusual that sometimes they're in touch with each other.
No, it's done at all levels. As you know, I'm the chairman of a football club in the 9th division. And if we want to buy a striker, that one that everybody wants, I asked about 5 of our players to go and give them a call and explain what we're about.
Yeah.
It's important to get the context from somebody who is...
For us, it's always a bit, it has to be really confidential. So it's not about 5 players. Sometimes it's the captain who knows, we are interested in this guy. Probably, you meet him at the national team. We have to take care. It's not super normal, but sometimes it's a way what happens. Even if you don't like it as a club, it happens because players speaking to players after the match, before the match, at the national team, when they meet each other at holidays, wherever it happens.
Yes, and then of course at the moment that you sign him, it has to be a process for them to adapt. I go back to the book I'm doing with Aston Villa, and when they get somebody, they give them a video 10 minutes, no longer than that, just before even they get into the training ground, so they know the people that they're about to meet, what the club is about. Then they've got the player care manager, what you need, what car you want, what house you need, da, da, da. So from the moment they walk through that door, they've been looked after by the club. Was that process set in motion when you arrived, or did you have to help with that?
I can't share every method I take, but I think it's not it's worth to take your time to being really prepared and pick them up on the right level and show them that you are really deep. You have a real deep understanding of the person who's sitting in front of you.
In the case of Kimmich, I imagine you didn't need too much time to convince him to make the jump. First team, club that's winning, from his nation. I guess the club where everybody wants to go, or was it harder than that?
We organized a meeting with Pep Guardiola at that time, and Kimmich is a real competitor. So for him, sometimes if you try to sign a player from the second division or lower team, sometimes you have to manage the doubts that I don't get it. Do you really think that I will achieve this level? How long should I have to wait until I will be a starter at your team, or is it better to a step between? So it's like going a level lower and doing there on my best, and then next step will be Bayern's or one of the Champions League clubs. So with Kimmich, when we are speaking about him, so he's a real competitor. He's like, okay, if you want me, I will make it. I will come and make it. So of course, a conversation with Pep Guardiola, speaking about his position and his role at our team, at our club, was also convincing on the highest level. So we're speaking about Guardiola at that time, so it's massive, and it went well. So the whole journey went well.
With Kimmich, his role evolved. So I imagine when Pep first spoke to him, he wasn't so much about I'll get you to play inside. You're going to be my center midfielder. No, that came later.
Yes, but we prepared Pep really good on Kimmich. We had several meetings with Pep and showed him videos, and he was watching with us that time a match live in the stadium, second division. So he had a really good understanding of Kimmich. He understood his profile, his strengths, his weaknesses. So it was a high level conversation. Then Pep was ready to explain Joshua at that time how he can improve his style and his game, and how he will help him and support him to be on the highest level. So it was, it's about that. It's not only about here, this is your role and these are the teammates around you. It's a bit more, speaking about the individual pathway and how the support could be from the club and from the head coach.
I can imagine Joshua going like, yeah, Bayern won me, and all of a sudden through the door appears Pep Guardiola.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
massive.
okay, yeah. Massive. How did you work with Pep? How did it go? Was he a proactive manager trying to suggest names, or you were going to him and he would analyze whatever you brought him, a mixture?
I loved it. To be honest, it was a great time working with him on his side, and we don't have to speak too much about Pep. Everyone knows that, but I appreciate it so a lot that I had the chance to speak in a weekly base. So of course he was always concentrated on the next match, but he also gave us his attention, speaking about markets, speaking about profiles. And for me, the most thankful part of it was like he explained me exactly what he sees in players, what he wants to do with these different profiles, different positions, the expectation, what the needs. He could deliver the exact needs of, this is my group and I miss this puzzle piece. And on this position, take care that the player is doing these 5 things. And then when we had some days after the match day and spoke to each other. He explained me what he will do the next time, what we have to improve. So he yeah, give me a really, and of course it was for me, it was I appreciate still, it's for me something you can't take out of my life. It was yeah, one of the best experience I had, and I'm super thankful for that, because he shared a lot experience and ideas with us.
That will be a massive chapter of your biography when you write it, because, of course, you were present at a time where Pep Guardiola decided to take Johan Cruyff's game to Beckenbauer's house and make it succeed against the culture of the time, if you like, just starting a new path, which now, of course, is followed by so many. And we started that conversation when we first spoke at length in Five Live in the EuroLeague's radio show. And I insisted on something that perhaps we need another half an hour to discuss, but that Pep Guardiola, his style has become now the predominant football model of our time. That 5 out of 8 quarterfinalists of the Champions League played, 3 out of 4 semi-finalists, the winner, Liverpool as well, Real Madrid now going with Xabi Alonso in that idea of a structured football. So you were part of that process in which he was testing something that Barcelona was easy, but he needed to know if it worked. So uh, you're aware, of course, of the historic magnitude of what was happening in front of you.
Pep is a genius, so it's not that he has only one style in his mind, so he can adapt. He for me, what I felt is like he always looked for solutions. It was not like I have a schema, I have an idea, and this is how I have to train the team that they will come close to the ideal version of what I have in my mind. For me, it was more like, oh, he's changing, he's adapting, he sees, okay, the opponents start to defend like this because we are really strong in these areas. Then he get a new idea. So it's always in response of what the opponent and how the opponent develops their system, and then he has an answer. He has the next answer, and then he's always making headaches for the opponent because it's not catchable. It's not, you can't stop it, because if he sees the move of of the opponents, then he has said, okay, that could be a different solution. I will find it, and then it's not. He's not following only one idea, one system, one way. He's really flexible and he's super smart. Yeah, how I said, it's genius. It's completely different level.
You're giving some clues of what Pep Guardiola is about. Of course, adaptability he works so hard, and the amount of correction that he does all the time. He's correcting all the time, on and off the pitch. That's backed by his passion, and he's always a step ahead. I also feel privileged to have shared all time with him and having seen what he's done. But you, particularly being there, I really, really envy you. By the way, you're also been part of the process of learning that a player at the time and now a manager has gone through, which is Xabi Alonso. You obviously knew that when he was there as a player, that there was a brain that was special and that will be converted into a special manager, no?
Yeah, Xabi, from his aura, from his attitude, how he sees, how he feels the game. So of course his basics still completely made for a top class head coach. So I'm really not surprised what he's doing, what he did the last years with Bayer Leverkusen. So I have no doubts that he shows the same at Real Madrid and is one of the best, will be one of the best, or is one of the best head coach in the world.
But he's going from a club in which he could do more or less what he wanted, structured football, to one that is not used to structure. So that must be I feel it will be a hard step. I'm sure he can do it, but
yeah, I think he played in some teams, so he knows what it means, how a group is thinking. If you have this style, I got you. I know what you tried to tell me, but I think he's smart enough and he's a good. I mean, head coach. We speak a bit too much about match plan, about solutions, Don't forget that the leadership qualities, and Xabi was, as a player, always one of the great leaders in his team. So I think his leadership qualities will be also really important, and the whole mixture of understanding the game, smartness, intelligence, football intelligence, and the leadership qualities.
Just sound the names that we mentioned in here. You're the perfect dinner guest. We bring you in. We just put you in one corner of the one side of the table and ask Marco, and that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to ask for the last name that we're going to discuss today, which is Harry Kane. That some may think, oh, that's an easy choice. They wanted a striker. Harry Kane wanted to leave, but it's somebody that, again, context is important. In his case, he was a jump to win titles, but also a jump of nations and not jump of leagues. Was it easy or difficult to convince him?
You started with an easy choice. I think it was an easy choice, to be honest. So all his qualities, how he is as a person, also the contract situation. Was it easy to convince him? It should be a fit for both sides. So if you identify as a club, this player, this striker, we are missing this profile, exactly this profile. Of course, you have to show this person that, hey, my friend, you're the missing puzzle piece for us. Are we going together the next chapter? And yeah, it's work. The recruitment, the convincing process. I think it's never easy, but yeah, that time it was successful. So we convinced him, and I think more titles are coming. More titles are coming.
Yes, which is what he wants. Marco, as always, it's been a pleasure. I hope that next time we meet, it wouldn't be with a frame and a microphone, but with the possibility of talking about all of these 4 hours, no end. And that will be, it'll have to be soon, because you're going to get a job at some point in one top club in Europe, and then it'll just be impossible to talk to you. So I want to thank you for your time.